Look at modern politics, and you will see a system that feels like it is tearing itself apart. The screaming matches and the severe polarization leave us with the overwhelming anxiety that society is a sinking ship. The intuitive assumption is that the friction itself is the problem. If we could just eliminate political disagreement and reach total unity, the ship would finally stabilize. But treating politics purely as a clash of philosophies misses the reality of how we operate. Political affiliation has deep roots in our biology and neuroscience. Conservative, liberal, and centrist brains are physically wired to process empathy, fear, and environmental threats in distinct, specialized ways. This suggests that achieving perfect political agreement wouldn't be a sign of a healthy society. It would mean we've lost the very biological tools we need to survive. Think of society as a macro-organism requiring specialized, competing biological sensors. The political left acts as the nervous system's pain receptors. They are biologically hypersensitive to injustice and the suffering of marginalized groups. When a structure causes pain, this node triggers an acute alarm. We rely on these alarms. Pulling children out of dangerous machinery or demanding a standard workday were once viewed as radical demands. They were the necessary cries of a nervous system reacting to severe exploitation. On the flip side, the political right functions as the skeleton and the immune system. This node is wired to detect chaos. It protects structural integrity to ensure the body doesn't collapse under the weight of untested experiments. This conservative function is anchored in Chesterton's fence. You must never destroy an old structure until you understand why previous generations built it. Without the left, the system bleeds to death from ignored societal rot. But without the right, it collapses entirely trying to reshape its own bones overnight. Then there is the political center. Functioning as the vascular system, the center is highly allergic to extreme cognitive dissonance. Its job is to absorb the loud demands of the nervous system and the structural limits of the skeleton, translating them into pragmatic daily operations. But none of these organs work flawlessly. Just by performing their natural duties, every political faction produces negative byproducts, everyday toxins. The left's hypersensitivity triggers autoimmune overreactions, creating a culture that attacks its own over minor offenses. The right's structural rigidity generates a cold lack of empathy for anyone outside its group, and the center's pragmatic focus routinely devolves into technocratic elitism. Because these toxins are constantly generated, the factions require the relentless friction of their opponents to clean the system and keep worst symptoms in check. For this biological balancing act to succeed, the signals from each sensor must flow freely through the societal bloodstream, our public square. Historically, that circulation relied on universities, mass media, and open intellectual forums. Today, social media algorithms operate as dangerous artificial stimulants, injected directly into that circulatory system. To generate profit, these algorithms intentionally and constantly trigger the left's pain receptors and the right's fear centers at the exact same time. Drowned out by the manufactured panic, the center is stripped of its ability to regulate. The whole organism is plunged into chronic, exhausting stress. What happens then when the tension finally snaps and one of these sensors achieves absolute control over the organism? When the extreme left silences the body in pursuit of a flawless, pain-free utopia, it relies on severe totalitarian repression to force human equality. The result is total neurological shock. When the extreme right takes over, its paranoid pursuit of absolute order triggers a lethal autoimmune disease. It militarizes the body, attacking its own healthy, diverse cells through fascism. Even the extreme center causes fatal damage. When arrogant technocrats preserve the status quo by ignoring real distress, they create a systemic blockage that drives desperate masses straight into the arms of the radicals. Any ideology that achieves its ultimate fantasy of a final victory ceases to be a functional censor. It mutates into a lethal disease that kills the host society. Acknowledging this biological reality frees us from the dangerous trap of seeking absolute political harmony. There is a strict boundary. If any faction actively tries to destroy the democratic system's ability to debate, it is no longer a censor. It is a pathogen that must be stopped. These factions act as biological censors. each fine-tuned to detect a different category of systemic risk.
Political friction is proof of life. A society does not collapse because people are fiercely arguing. It collapses when the argument becomes impossible.